Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Do We Know Them, episode 266.
Moving right along.
Yeah, and it also makes sense that this episode has a 6-6 in it because we're going to be talking about religion. And I don't know, thought that was ironic. I mean, one more 6 would have been, more ironic, but two
yeah,
will
it was
do.
like a 66 a symbol too. In this case it is
not.
because, oh my God, I cannot.
This is so bad. Yeah, we were texting back and forth, just like talking about this in general. I had been sent this a million times. Sherilyn sent it in the group chat and was like, please tell me you're talking about this. And part of me didn't want to, but then the other part of me knew that I had to because I have so much to say. I guess we'll start with that because it's like the heaviest topic, or like we're just going to go on and on about it.
Yeah, well, and I also, so I'd seen the clip that we're like the main one we're talking about, but then I started getting recommended a bunch of other clips and I was just like, oh my God. I hate it here.
Yeah, so the people we're going to be talking about are Maddie Prewett and Grant Troutt with 2 T's.
I saw someone call him Fish Boy.
Yeah, that works too.
Like, oh.
They are the co-hosts of the Stay True podcast, but they're also married. They are indeed in a, legal marriage.
Yes, they are.
Allegedly.
And I guess she was on The Bachelor. I do not watch The Bachelor, so I wasn't familiar.
Neither do I, but I do have some clips because she basically got popular off The Bachelor for like being, not only did she not want to have sex and like really didn't want him to have sex either, but like she was even having issues with like him kissing other girls. And I'm like, ma'am, do you know what show you're on?
I feel like I've seen that I've seen the clips of the girl doing that on that Farmer. I don't know what it's called. It's like the Farmer dating show.
Don't know.
Oh, really? Basically, she says that she respects her future husband too much to do that. And I'm like,
which is fine if you don't want to be intimate, but if you're going on a dating show where people are intimate all the time, that's like going on Love Island and being like, oh, I don't know about this.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what it is.
I get, like, if you don't have sex, sure, that's fine. Like, I feel like it's a pretty rushed process anyway with reality shows, but the kissing, I'm like, come on.
These are some clips from it.
Who was the guy?
His name is Peter. I don't fucking know.
How
do they choose the people from The Bachelor?
Pilot Pete.
Oh, is that him?
Yeah. I actually, the only reason I feel like I know who he is because he is from where I'm from. I didn't know him personally, and I don't know anyone that knows him, but I just remember that, like, people were talking about that.
Like, I don't want to feel like a bad person for like the standards that I have.
You're not
I know, but like I'm so proud of who I am and like the choices that I've made and like the standards that I have. And it's been so freaking hard in this because like I've had to look past a lot of things. Like, no, I'm not okay with the guy that to be kissing other women. Like,
you're on The Bachelor.
Fought and I've gotten here and I've gotten to this place and it's like I've sacrificed a lot and I've compromised a lot and I've really pushed myself in a lot of ways that I wouldn't normally for anybody else.
Anyway, then he tells her that he fucked someone and it's a whole thing. Yeah. On that same night. Yeah, it was a whole thing. She wasn't happy, which obviously like in real life. Yeah. If you're dating someone, you don't want them kissing.
But when you're going on The Bachelor, that's pretty understood.
Yeah, no, it's all out the window.
I don't understand how you would like try and make that a thing. Like, you can be bothered by it, but like to make it a point of contention is kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, especially on The Bachelor, because I feel like shows like Love Island, even when you're like open and still exploring, it could still hurt. But I feel like The Bachelor, like there's only one of you and like a bunch of other girls. Like if he just latches onto you and then doesn't do anything with anyone, even like exploring in that way, like I feel like that's not fair to them.
Well,
you know what I mean?
We've talked about Unreal, I feel like briefly, like a long time ago. Did you ever watch it? It's like
No.
It's like a scripted version of like a behind the scenes of The Bachelor. It just shows that like they would do like the producers would do like the most diabolical stuff to get storylines. Sure. And like the show is entertainment. It's not so he can meet one person and like, come on.
Yeah, that would be the most boring show ever. I'd be like, boo, turn it off.
Yeah. So interesting choice. Did she express that the reason that she like wasn't okay with any of that, was it because of religion? Or was it just like,
I don't know,
personal?
But the use of the verbiage standards does give that. Mm-hmm. So I do believe she was religious even back then, which I do feel like it's interesting to go on a reality show like The Bachelor if you're like very, it's nothing wrong with having those, like, I don't like standards because that makes it seem like everyone else is below it.
Well,
but
and
like,
it's just that like going on when like, I mean, call me crazy, but I wouldn't assume that even the guy on The Bachelor is like this super like intense like Christian that's going to be upholding everyone to the same. It just doesn't make sense why you would go on The Bachelor if that's what you were looking for.
Right. But regardless of what she was looking for, she found Grant Troutt. Okay.
Not on The Bachelor.
People have alleged that this is a lavender marriage. And if you don't know what a lavender marriage is, it's essentially when it's a straight woman with a gay male and she is like his beard in marriage. And normally, I think it's like, it could be harmful to speculate on things like that, like for people's mental health. And like, is it right, even if he is gay, to like out him in that way? I can see though, with the clips that we're going to watch, why people are so okay with just being like, you're in a lavender marriage and like hiding behind all this shit and then trying to tell other people how they should live their life when you're not even living yours. That's the allegation. I'm not saying that that's what I think.
I haven't seen a ton of clips of him, but none of the ones I was watching like screamed gay to me. I mean, he was kind of like overcompensating with the talking about sex and stuff a lot of the time, but he seemed more just douchey.
Yeah, but obviously we don't know what his sexuality is, and it's not like super
really
helpful
matter
to speculate on it.
Yeah, I guess
that's
the
people's
only clips
speculation
that I've seen are him like talking about them having sex.
Him and his wife?
Besides the main one we're gonna watch, yeah. And I also saw that they got married like super, super quick.
Well, that's what happens. And obviously, if you haven't been here a long time, hi, Lily and I are not religious at all. My father was a pastor. I grew up in the church and I grew up like going to youth group and stuff. Like I do have experience with the church, whereas you really don't, right?
No, very, very little. And generally we both are very much of the mindset, like we have no problem with religion. Like if you want to believe whatever you want, doesn't affect me. Until it does.
It does. Yeah. Until you're saying some crazy shit in the name of religion, then we're like, wait a second. So it could be any religion. We're not attacking these people because they're Christian. What they have put on the internet is batshit crazy. And that's why we're talking about it.
Yeah. I think our main thing is that people weaponize religion to push other agendas a lot of the time. This, I don't even know what I would call it. It's just like, this is a very extreme case of religion, I think.
Right. Yeah. So they got married. And like you said, quickly, that does make sense because in a lot of like Mormon relationships or Christian relationships, you know, religions that don't allow you or like it's frowned upon to have sex before marriage, people will expedite that marriage in order to have sex. And I think that that's insane. You shouldn't do that. That's really dumb.
Well, yeah, that's especially, I feel like we have seen that with, like you said, Mormons a lot because and it's always that they get married really young and you're like, why would you get married when you're like 19? Like give it some time. And it's like, because they want to have sex.
Well, they have to. Yeah. I mean, sex is a very important part of a relationship, but I also believe in the fact that like you are just not sexually compatible with some people. I mean, I guess you could work on it, but it's like if that like chemistry, that like if it's not there, you're in for a world of pain. Well, like that is just not going to be fun.
But then even on the other side of the spectrum, I think that if that's what like is driving you to do it, because you do have this kind of like built up tension, you like really want to have sex, but then like they aren't really developing the rest of the relationship and then they get married and it's like, oh, well, like sex is all we have.
Yeah. And it's interesting because they've talked about many things. I want to read really quick their Stay True podcast, like description, like what it is that they describe themselves to do. It says, Stay True is a podcast full of truth, debatable, relatable Me Too moments.
Weird use of the term Me Too also.
And real life advice on how to stay true to your values, beliefs, and standards. Again, the standards bullshit, the fucking hierarchy of sin and all that crap. Hosted by Maddie Prewett, this is a podcast where vibes and values meet. We'll laugh, we'll cry, and we'll get real. Here, you can expect a safe space, to whom, I'm not sure, where you will have fun and grow. Maddie will be the friend who speaks the truth in love, telling you not just what you want to hear, but what you need to hear. So grab your fave snack, put on your comfiest sweats, and let's talk about it all. Life can be hard and confusing, but together, we can stay true. Okay. So I wonder, is it just her and then he like comes on it sometimes? I was just going to say,
so it's her podcast.
Yeah, not them forgetting about him.
But it also refers to her as a best-selling author, speaker, and influencer. What book has she written?
I don't know, but this sounds like ChatGPT wrote it all and that it's like really hyping her up. To start off, I do want to give you a taste rather than just read the description of like what this podcast actually is. And this clip said a lot to me, not just about like religion in general. I can go on and on about like the downsides of religion, but you know, there's also upsides to it as well. But this is just like, it embodies what I hate about it.
Oh, this killed me, yeah.
Yeah, some Christians make it seem like the only reason they're with their partners because of God. Look at that.
If I try and love Maddie with all that Grant has, I will be short. I will blow up on her. I will not be quick to forgive.
Inconsistent.
And I will be inconsistent. I will, all the things. But when I prioritize, okay, God, you're the source of love. I got to get it from you. And then I can love Maddie. Then I can serve Maddie. My joy comes from God.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just like Grant wakes up happy. It's like
the third person's killing me.
Waterfall of who God is.
I know, it's like Elmo.
And I am filled with him. And that allows me to love you right.
So what you're telling me is that if God does not do it well, and I also know that like in religion, a lot of things, like all the good things are associated with God and all the bad things are not of God. And then it's like this just weird separation between what he does and doesn't do. But this in particular, you're telling me that unless God puts it in you to be a decent husband, you can't do it?
I mean, I'll be the first to admit, I just don't understand. Like, what exactly does that mean?
What he's saying is that, and I feel like they do this not just with marriage, but like with every aspect of your life. Like if you give it to God, then you're a better person in general. My issue with this clip in particular was him saying like, if I don't, then I'm a bad husband and I'm short with you. I don't prioritize you, as if none of that comes naturally. And the only way that he can love his wife, it doesn't come natural. He has to get closer to God, and then that'll give him like the strength to be a decent husband, is how I interpreted that. And I'm like, well, that's concerning.
It's just weird to me because at the end of the day, all they're really describing is like having good morals, which I don't think you need religion to have.
I've always had that issue. Yeah, I've always had that issue with religion. I'm like, I don't need God to tell me not to kill someone or to be a good wife or a good mother. And maybe some people do. And again, I think that there are positives to religion. I see people in my own life who find strength from it to deal with really hard times. And wherever you can get that strength in this life, you need it. You know what I mean? Like this life is hard.
More like he needs it on the daily just to like do the bare minimum.
Yes, which by the way, I read somewhere that he's a youth pastor, and that makes so much sense.
It does.
Just so much sense.
The more clips you watch,
troubling
the more it
considering
makes
the
sense.
topic, but still.
I think because there's some people that talk about religion online, and I'll watch it, and it doesn't feel like anything like too wild, but like the stuff that he and she say, I'm like, oh, that's really intense. Like,
I know.
Maybe we like reel it back a little bit.
Now, they have a child together that was born in 2025. And at the time of this particular podcast that we're going to be watching clips from, that baby was 4 to 5 months old. Okay. She is an infant. Yes. Doesn't speak, doesn't move, basically. Just like
wheels around.
Exactly. And that makes this even more troubling because what they're about to say, I mean, I don't even know. I don't even know how to preface it. We just got to watch it.
And also everything he says, he just seems like just really intense.
That's why he's a youth pastor.
Exactly. Like about everything. And I'm like, okay, calm down.
Some of the most intense people I've ever met are youth pastors. It's very bizarre. But anyway, the description of this episode, which is called, Is God Disciplining Me? Oh, yeah, with Grant and Troutt. So I guess it's normally her and then he's a guest, unfortunately. Yeah.
A choice.
It says, welcome back to Stay True podcast. Today, Maddie and Grant are diving into a powerful and often misunderstood part of God's character, his discipline. In a culture that loves to talk about God's love, but often avoids the harder truths, this episode takes a deep and honest look at why God's correction is actually a form of his kindness, not the gaslighting.
Okay.
Many of us have wrestled with questions like, is God mad at me? Or why does following him feel hard sometimes? In this conversation, Maddie and Grant explore how his discipline isn't punishment, but loving guidance meant to lead us to freedom. After this episode, you'll walk away with a deeper understanding of God's heart and a greater confidence in his goodness, even in the hard moments. Stay you and stay true.
I just feel like so much of it's always just like words. Like lead you to freedom? Freedom from what?
Oh, they can go on all day about that. Freedom like from sin, freedom.
But that's the thing. It's like the same kind of like buzzwords all just repackaged into different sentences.
Sure. Yeah, I could see that.
Not for everything, but I just think a lot of the time it's like, okay, we got the point.
Yeah, I think my biggest issue, like with the biblical version of God and what people portray him to be, and like I've talked to my friends who are religious about this, I'm just like, he's kind of mean. Like, what the fuck? Like, he's extremely like narcissistic and like abusive in a lot of ways.
But then like preaches about forgiveness, and then it's like, okay, well.
Yeah, so that's why when I saw this, I'm like, oh, okay, so I guess they're going to try to explain why that is, because there's some parts of God, biblical version of God, because what I perceive God to be is very different, that just doesn't add up, and they're trying to make it add up.
Well, it's like when people like, there's like a natural disaster and they'll be like, it was God's will.
Some people do that, and then some people, and they're going to say it, they say that no, none of that's from God.
He missed that. He was sick that day.
What is God's discipline, and why does God discipline us?
Revelation 3:19, Jesus says, I discipline and rebuke those whom I love. So who does the Lord discipline? His children.
Discipline proves that we are God's children.
Right.
It's not God's rejection towards us.
100%.
It's actually proof that we belong to him.
He always disciplines out of correction to pull you back into his love. He never disciplines you out of anger. It's never guided from, I'm going to hurt you. So first and foremost, you need to know that the Lord's discipline is never disciplined out of emotion.
The way they like egg each other on too is if they just said something really profound.
No, I experienced that a lot in like church when I was younger. It's a lot of bouncing off each other to, I don't want to like offend anyone, but like to convince each other. Like it genuinely, because the only thing about religion that gets me is I'm like, yes, you can feel convicted in something. You can feel like you know, but nobody knows for sure. Nobody. And so if you say you know for sure, you're lying because nobody knows for sure. You could just feel like you know for sure unless you die and go to heaven but then you're dead and you can't come back to tell us. So,
I mean, that even is demonstrated by the just sheer amount, like the Bible, it's not typical, I feel like, for any book to be able to be studied indefinitely for the rest of time, and like people still feel like they're pulling new things out of it because everyone interprets it differently. Yeah,
exactly. But not to mention, it has been translated from its original language.
Yes, things have been lost.
Yeah. I mean, this is just like logically, when my brain thinks logically sometimes, not always, but like, you know, I look at it and I'm like, yeah, I don't personally, like I can look at this from like a third party perspective and I'm like, y'all are on to nothing. You know what I mean? Like when they're talking, I'm just like, not you both being like, yeah, like totally. And then I'm like, what? Like it totally goes over my head.
They
personally.
could even be meaning like two different things, but they just are like waiting for the other one to like finish so they could be like, yeah, I agree. And then this. And then it's like, I feel like you're not either of you, like neither of you were saying anything. That's one of my big problems with religion is the interpretations are so different for everyone, because even like how it's being really pushed into like the government and like trying to be like put into schools and stuff. And it's like, okay, but why are also some things taken very literally? Like when people are anti-gay people, and I know not all people that are religious are, but like some people will cite the Bible and be like, oh no, it says this, so that means that gay people are going to hell. And it's like, okay, but then you'll ignore the other things that it's like, if you took that literally, then like you'd be like getting stoned for something.
No, but it's not only that. I have gay friends that are religious and they don't believe that. They believe that that was a mistranslation that meant like man shall not lie with boy, I think it was. I just think that everybody has their own interpretation of it, which is fine. I don't like when that interpretation becomes, this is what you need to understand to have a better life. I think that's where it becomes problematic. And I've always been of the mindset of like, if you believe something and you feel convicted in that, you don't need anybody to believe it. But it literally is religion. We've said this before. It thrives off of other people believing it, because otherwise how would churches get money and how would the religion even exist? Like,
but then when I think of people that I have in my life that are very religious and like go to church regularly and like that's a big part of their life, I don't hear about it. Like they're not shoving it down my throat. Just like I'm not going, I mean, I guess yes, we're talking about it in this episode, but like I'm not going around going, are you religious? Like how dare you? And like yelling at them for it.
Nor if someone were to tell me that they were, I would be like, no, why? Like, that's dumb. No, absolutely not. And like my religious friends or family members and stuff are very respectful of the fact that I'm not. Like the second you tell me that I need to pray, I need to do things to get through a hard time, that starts frustrating me, because that doesn't work for me. That doesn't help me.
And I think that is representative of like a healthy religious relationship with God, is that they don't feel the need to push it on other people because it's for them. It's not for everyone else. This a little pushy.
Yeah, you're going to see why we're talking about this. We're not just getting on this show to talk about religion and how we don't really, you know, vibe with it, I guess. There's a very important part of this podcast that we are going to be touching on. But before we do, hear him preach for just one more second longer.
We are all born with a sin nature. We all have the wrath of God justly due to us. God can't overlook sin because he's just. That's the good news of the gospel, is that the wrath of God that was heading straight for us, Jesus Christ said, I will take it. And it's a free gift that you get to receive. Therefore, you're adopted as sons and daughters. So we were all in the wrath of God. And all the good news of the gospel is you can receive the free gift. And now you're a son and a daughter. If you've accepted Jesus Christ as Savior, you follow him as Lord, then you can know the wrath of God's not on you. It's on his son. The Bible says when he looks at you, he sees the righteousness of Jesus.
I've word salad. I don't know anything he just said.
I know it is a word salad, but my biggest issue with this point of view, I'm like, okay, so the good news is that the wrath of God is going to miss us because it's on his son. When in any other universe would that make me feel better about anybody's son?
It's all just a lot. And I'm just, again, I feel like it's a lot of repeating the same kind of words and like vibes, but like, do they really mean anything?
I don't know. And maybe I am a little bit bitter, or not bitter, but just in my experience, like my dad was a pastor, and then I have seen firsthand how passionate he was preaching certain things. And now, like, I don't know if my dad would even describe himself. Like, I think he might be like agnostic or something, or atheist. Like,
a shift.
My dad is not someone who prays. Like, he remembers all the, you know, the theology of it all because he had to literally study it. But like, My dad was so passionate. He had a TV show in Miami, a Spanish-based TV show where he would just preach and like everybody would watch him and, just feel so convicted.
So what changed?
He just first of all, I don't even think anything changed, to be honest. While he was that pastor, he was living his own life of like his own personal sins. Like I remember he would hide like drinking from his pastor friends, or like he was always who he was. He just tried to kind of like hide it so that he can like not look bad in the church.
Yeah.
Yeah. And personally, there are good churches. But personally, any church that I have been to and been a part of and like in the congregation or like in the youth groups, knowing from my family and stuff, the most judgmental people. And so that is why that stereotype is like, that's why it exists, because it does exist. It's not every church and it's not every Christian. And I have friends that are Christian and like are super, like they live their life how they want to live it. They're not asking me to do anything different.
No.
And praying makes them feel great and having a relationship with God, and more power to them.
Exactly.
But
like,
whatever
if
the fuck this is, I'm
fulfills
like,
your life,
what is this?
Then that's great. It's one thing to like preach, but it's another to like, I feel like scold people and like try and like tell them that they're awful
or
for
scare
not.
them.
Yeah, that's a
scare
lot.
them into the wrath of God.
The scare and fear mongering, I feel like, is heavy in the church.
I mean, you're talking about Mormons don't drink freaking coffee. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just a bit much. But then also, if it doesn't affect me, I do not give a shit. Like, I want you to know this right now. Like, if you're religious and like that is your life and every day you go to church or whatever the fuck your life is, I'm so happy for you. Genuinely, I don't think anything different. This is just my opinion and in my experience of like pushy ass people, because they're pushy whether they're religious or not. But when they're religious, they feel like I need to push this because you're taught that you need to. And I know this because I came back from youth camp begging, and this is so embarrassing, begging, like harassing my brother Joey to like be saved with me. Okay.
Oh, what does that mean?
Give your life to Christ, acknowledge him as your Lord and Savior. Like I had an experience when I was saved, like sobbing hysterically because we were in a literal like church camp that was remote. It was like the only summer camp I had been to. It was only like a weekend. But like I went there and they did this ceremony and they like saved me. I don't fucking know. I was sobbing. I thought the Holy Spirit came and I was like, oh my God, my whole life is fixed. And when I got home, I was like, I need to share that with my brother. Like there's no way he can't be saved. And I think I was in a bit of a psychosis queen, to be honest. Like, genuinely looking back, I'm like, oh, Jesse, like I was unmedicated. I was super depressed. I wanted to fit in so badly with people. I didn't know what to do. And so then I bothered my brother to like want him to experience the same thing, but
he wasn't having it.
It's intense. Oh, Joey told me to fuck off. Literally, he's like, he closed the door on me and I like sat outside of it crying because I wanted him to be saved. Like, what the fuck is that? Like,
no, but honestly, that's one of the things that like, because again, like I don't have experience being like in religion, but I've seen so much, admittedly, mostly horror stories because I'm not looking into like the good sides of religion.
The success stories.
Exactly. Right. That's not what gets made into documentaries.
Right, right.
But like people weaponize religion to often, not always, I'm not saying this is not all churches ever, but they'll like prey on people that are vulnerable and they're seeking some kind of stability and like something to like live for, because otherwise, like that's a lot of drug addicts will turn to religion.
Yeah.
And it's something that might help a lot of people, but I think other people kind of get sucked into it and then it becomes just like not necessarily like a crutch, but like without it, they don't know what to do. So they make it their whole life.
Yeah. I've seen, great things about it. My little brother's autistic and religion has helped him a lot. Like just feeling like he belongs, like they've been great friends to him in his church. And he also feels like comfort in knowing like the hard times of life. Like he feels like there's like a bigger purpose to it because he overthinks a lot and gets in these like cycles. And so it's helped him a lot. And I think that it can. I just don't get this. Well, we're about to watch it. Let's just watch it because I feel like people are going to be like, okay, like what the fuck are you guys
we get it.
about?
You don't like religion.
Yeah, this is what we're on about. This is the clip that's been going viral.
A very clear example of like what I mentioned about how some stuff is taken very literally when it should not be at all.
Right.
And like other stuff, they just like skirt over and they're like, oh, he didn't mean that though.
Right.
There is a difference between God's discipline is always to develop something in you and to lead you closer to him. But then there's also just the suffering and the brokenness of the world that is just a result of sin being in the world that we've been born into. You look at death, you look at rape, you look at abuse, you look at neglect. That is not.
It's not from God.
From God.
Yeah.
What? That's convenient. I wish that I could get that pass in life where everything good is because I did it and everything bad is not. It has nothing to do with me. I didn't want that. Actually, this isn't the clip. It gets worse. It gets into them and their children and beating and discipline and all that stuff. But this in particular pisses me off because I'm like, no, that doesn't make me feel better about sexual assault. Like,
Yeah.
oh, he didn't do it? Oh, great. No problem. It's just because sin is in the world. But I thought Jesus died for our sins, so I'm so confused.
But I also think it's interesting because I feel like sometimes it's like God's wrath or God's discipline, and it's like he God's will to do that. But then other times, suddenly when something's bad, it's the devil.
Yeah. So I don't know who did what, to be honest.
It's hard. It's kind of the blame game. Before we go any further, we have a word from our sponsor, ZocDoc.
If you don't already know, then you must be new here, but ZocDoc is a free app and website where you can search and compare high-quality in-network doctors and click to instantly book an appointment.
And it's super easy. You just go on and you can filter by your insurance, by where you live, by what you need to go to the doctor for. And then it gives you access to a bunch of doctors that all have their schedules there. So you just like get to click whatever time they're available. And they usually have an appointment within 24 to 72 hours.
And on ZocDoc, they have more than 100,000 doctors across every single specialty, from mental health to dental health, primary care, urgent care. So if you're someone that puts off the doctor because you're either intimidated by calling the office or you don't know what doctor you need, ZocDoc is the perfect place to figure that out.
And you don't have to talk on the phone because you don't have to call them because you can book it right there on the website, which is my favorite.
So stop putting off those doctor's appointments and head over to ZocDoc.com/GWKT to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today.
That's ZocDoc.com/DWKT, ZocDoc.com/DWKT.
And thank you so much to ZocDoc for being an amazing sponsor of this podcast. Yeah, because nobody really wants to talk about the fact that, like, maybe, just maybe, there isn't an exact point to life, and the only point to life is living.
Yeah.
And you find beauty in that along the way. That is it could make people feel helpless. I get that.
Yeah.
And to some people, that just gives them a better, like, okay, well, then I'll just do my best until I die. Like, that's literally kind of just what life is. To some people, it's not. But, like, this just tries to, like, go roundabout about, like, just some of the horrible shit that happens in the world because horrible shit happens.
Yeah. Well, then also simultaneously saying, like, everything is God's plan and everything is, like,
except for that.
He's putting you on the right path and you might have to deal with stuff, but he doesn't give it to you unless you can.
Right.
And it's like, what?
As a result of the brokenness of this world.
We've got to get out of the mindset that everything bad that happens is from God. Why did bad things happen to good people? That's only happened one time. Jesus on the cross.
What?
Kids with cancer. My
That's
grandma got
the only
Alzheimer's.
bad thing that's ever happened to a good person.
Yeah, I'm literally like, what the fuck? That's actually a crazy sentence.
But then also, just after talking about like rape and murder and stuff, and it's like, what about those people? And if I
what
thought
did you do to deserve
God,
that,
so
Lily?
like, oh my
I don't
God,
know.
It doesn't. It's crazy.
Jesus on the cross. But was the bad things that happened to you because you were bad? No, it's because we live in a broken world.
Okay, thanks. I'm gonna just go literally jump off a cliff.
Like, yeah, I was like, that's
hopeless.
not particularly helpful, but okay.
Now we get into the actual viral clip. Sorry, I thought that was gonna be that one, but this is basically them talking about disciplining their daughter, who, need I remind you, at the time of this podcast was a few months old. Yeah, literally didn't even say a word yet.
Well, and it also specifically talks about discipline with the
rod. It says it will not kill them.
Because some people could say, well, you can discipline them with timeouts. Hold on. It says with the rod.
She gonna get a little bit. It's not gonna be,
And it's not, and it's gonna be in a very loving way of saying, hi, sweetheart, do you know why you're being disciplined? Mommy does not want to discipline you. Mommy does not enjoy having to spank you, but there are consequences to disobedience.
100%.
And that's what you're saying.
Okay, Ruby Frankie.
Yeah, literally. This is giving Handmaid's Tale when Serena, who was like the person who invented, literally, like she is like the creator of Gilead pretty much. And when she was caught reading, Fred had her like pinky removed because that was the punishment for women reading in Gilead. Yeah. Horrible. But then it's like, is that out of love? You know what I mean? Like, you're disciplined because it's like, oh, like, this is what I need to do for you. No, it's fucking cruel. You don't do that just because you read it somewhere. Or like, for instance, like the Bible has a lot of like antiquated, very, very barbaric shit in it. Like,
well, that's why I said, like,
killing family members and like just a bunch of crazy shit.
Fine, but then other stuff, it's like, well, you would have been stoned to death, but you're overlooking that one.
Right.
Like, just, oh, no, he didn't mean that. The use of the term rod.
So yeah, it says that in the Bible. So like, basically, you know, like a shepherd uses a rod to like guide sheep.
Yeah. That I'm like, I don't think we need to be hitting kids in general, much less with sticks or rods or whatever the fuck you interpret that to mean.
Not.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not a Bible study expert. But like, he's saying how they're all God's children, but then now the children they're taking literally and only referring to like their own children.
Mean their children. Yeah. I'm gonna jump a little bit before actually because I want to see him introducing this bit of it, him starting to introduce like his literal daughter into this conversation, and it's no longer a theoretical conversation about God's children.
Quick side note, Why are there Nikes on display behind you?
Oh, damn it. I thought the side note was going to be his hair.
Oh, that I've already accepted. I hate.
Why does he discipline? He always disciplines out of correction to pull you back into his love. He never disciplines you out of anger. And that's the difference between human discipline and between the Lord's discipline.
Yeah.
And he addresses this. He says in Hebrews 12, you guys should study this and we should pull it out.
No, thanks.
But it says, you had fathers who disciplined you as it seemed best to them. So they did their best. But the Lord disciplines you so that you may share his holiness.
In his holiness,
he wants to share himself
fuck
with
does
you.
that mean?
That's why he disciplines you.
That's really good.
That's really good.
It just starts saying that
That's
to
really
you
good.
mid-sentence. That's really good.
I feel like they pray before sex. Like,
Did
this
you
is too
watch
much.
all the? I sent you a few clips, so maybe you didn't watch them all. But the ones I sent you yesterday,
About sex?
there is one about sex specifically, and it was like alarming.
Oh, I want to see it. Hold on, let me get it.
Before we were married, Satan goes, how can I tempt you to be all over each other? And now that we're married, I think we see, especially in intimacy in the marriage bed, he goes, how do I keep you away from each other?
Right.
One thing
Right.
you walk in a marriage going, we're going to want to have sex 5 times a day, every single day, every single moment. And especially as a man, I'm thinking, but it's interesting how Satan is so crafty to try and split that intimacy up
What?
Yep.
once you're married.
That's so true.
And when
Yep.
you're dating, he goes together. Now I can't tempt you with lust with her anymore. So how do I get you off that? And we have to fight. And there's moments that we have had that, not that we didn't, but we were like, hey, we want to choose to have intimacy right now, even after this big argument, because we want to fight for this unity. And we're looking at Satan right in his eyes and going, we're fighting for what you cannot tear apart with God on our side.
Ooh,
So
Makeup sex.
good.
Okay.
Yes.
So what I think he's trying to say,
Please tell me.
I think, is in marriage, I feel like the common running joke, I guess you could say, with marriage is like, oh, like you have sex until you get married and then you never have sex again.
Yeah.
That type of thing. So he's saying that separation is like Satan and they need to be like super very particular about like choosing to have sex together. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like choosing to be like, hey, like let's do this more intentionally. Because sometimes if you just leave it up to the wind, like you get busy and you're tired and a million things.
What more creeped me out was that it was like, we're looking Satan in the eye and like we're chill.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, okay, a lot of the concepts I feel like wouldn't be weird if you put them just like in terms that are logical and like how you just explained it. But it's always coming back to like the devil's trying to keep us apart. Satan's doing this and God's doing this. And it's just
Yeah.
like, maybe you guys should just like have a conversation.
Yeah.
This one's about their first date, but I just thought you would enjoy it.
and we were on this first date, and I think what sealed the deal for her, she says, we get in the car and I look at her, and it was the clean version, by the way, but I was like, hey, do you want to drive around the city and listen to Drake? And there was
Not the clean
something
version.
about the city and listening to Drake, and I think it's really funny we said
It was so cool, like getting to have those moments and then get in the car and just like chill and hang out and have fun. And then like we stopped middle of the like listening to Drake, and he was like, should we pull over and pray for Drake? I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Shut
we
up.
should.
Shut up.
And it was just so cool.
was
I felt like
crazy.
I had known him my whole life, and yeah, the rest of history.
That is like literally the weirdest shit I've ever heard in my life.
There was another clip from
That's not
the
normal.
same like this same conversation, and it was her saying like, yeah, like I didn't know if he it's like I didn't know if he had like that swag, and it was something about like listening to Drake and Justin Bieber, and I was like,
Oh my gosh, I'm blown away. But then there's this part of me that was like, okay, but does he have like this swag? Like, does he have,
don't know.
does he have
don't know.
this like, I don't know, like, is there another side of him where we can just like turn on some Justin Bieber, some Drake, like, and just chill and vibe? And so we get in the car and he opens my door and he's like, do you mind if we just like drive around downtown and I just turn on some Drake? And I was like, huh. I was like, do you?
Lost it.
I was like, do you want to get married right?
Oh, there's a clip when I was looking up stuff of her where she was like dancing like this and really thinking she was eating it right on up, and all the comments are just blasting her. So I don't know what kind of swag she thinks she
well,
has.
apparently
but
she thought she found
pulling
it
over
when they
to pray
pulled
for
over
Drake
to
is
pray for
wild.
Drake. Yeah,
I'm gonna go back to their clip where he's talking about discipline.
yeah, it gets worse.
So first and foremost, you need to know that the Lord's discipline is never disciplined out of emotion. Me and Maddie will discipline Hosanna out of emotion at times. Hey, I'm flawed and human, therefore I'm going to react to this. God never does that. God disciplines those whom he loves. And so what is the Lord's discipline? I think about multiple things. The Lord's discipline is always off of the heels of disobedience or sin. And so think about it. When you have a child, you don't just discipline them for being good and obeying you, right? Like if Hosanna obeys us, we're not like, come here, girl, come here. All right, pull him down. Get the, mama, get her. Which will be hilarious when we start spanking Hosanna, which we will on the record, because the Bible so clearly says
about that.
This is
insane.
Particularly what we have been discussing, what it's leading up to. This is the epitome of it. Using the Bible and using religion to be a sick fucking weirdo and fantasize about spanking your infant. You're weird as fuck.
It's going to be
and
hilarious.
You are not justified. Yeah, it's going to be hilarious. When the entire time you're talking about God's discipline and how it's just and that humans are flawed, and then you think it's literally going to be hilarious when you start spanking your infant, which the only thing hilarious about that is that your children are going to fucking hate you. That's the only thing.
To say it like that, and like they're both like, oh yeah, well, obviously we're going to do it. The Bible told us to. And it's like, what?
Yeah. You have no ability to think for yourself. And I think that's when I have an issue, when like religion becomes the only thing that you lean on, because you literally start lacking common sense
and a
like
moral
decency
compass
in ways that make,
which is the ironic part, because that's what it supposedly is giving you.
Yeah. Like for me, I'm a non-religious person. My entire life weighs on my own moral compass.
Yeah.
Like I don't hurt my children because I don't hurt my family. I don't hurt anybody that I love. I want them to know that no matter what mistake they make, I will never hurt them. And all this is going to do, and we've talked about it before with people like Ruby Frankie, like when you're that controlling, when you're that much of a dominant parent, you spank, you hit, you do all this stuff, your kids will become sneakier. They will lie to you. They will literally do whatever the fuck they want anyways. You're just not going to know about it. How does that help you? How does that help you help them?
And then like yes,
it doesn't.
Obviously Ruby Frankie is like a very, very extreme example. But like when you read through the like diaries and stuff that she was keeping, you do have to wonder, like, was she just a sick person and like doing it? Or how much did she really like, I mean, it doesn't excuse
she was justified
it. It's
in doing
disgusting anyway, but like she seemed to genuinely think that she was doing things to like help them, even though she was absolutely abusing her kids to the point that they
and she's a perfect example of how bad it could get if you don't rely on your own common sense and morals to like guide you through life. If you only rely on the teachings of whether it's the Bible or the church or someone like fucking Jody Hildebrand,
that's what I was gonna say,
weirdly charismatic and like comes along and tells you that's what you need to be doing.
And that's my biggest like alarm bells with religion, is when there are people that take it, weaponize it, and like who knows if Jody actually was even religious, or if she just got off on being in charge of people and like ordering them around, making them do whatever. That is why there's so many religious cults, is because they do prey on people that are so like open to believing everything, and they think that you're telling them the truth and it's all based on the Bible and it must be true, and it's all just no. There are people that are doing things that are bad.
Yeah. And listen, I am not like, I can't tell people what to do, because at the end of the day, behind closed doors, people do what they're going to do anyway. I disagree with hitting your children. I don't think it's the emotionally mature way to handle anything. I think that if you can't verbalize to your child why they shouldn't be doing something, then you lack emotional intelligence. In my opinion, I think that you relying on that as a means to like scare them into behaving, it just doesn't work. Like in my own life, I do know somebody who spanks their children. And guess what? Out of all the kids that I know, those are the only kids who hit other kids. Literally. I'm not joking.
It makes sense.
Emily had like when she was 2 and didn't know what was going on, you know, someone takes her toy, she would like push or like get, upset. But at 3 years old, she is well aware we don't touch each other like that. Like you don't go and hit anybody, because nobody hits her. So like you learn it, and then they're going to do it too. And it's just, then what are you going to hit them for hitting you? It's like, who's going to hit who next?
That it does lead to more just sneaking around and trying to get away with things, because you're not teaching them why it's wrong or how they can like, or giving them the tools to process something or like to handle something differently and not do it in the future and explain why it's wrong. They're not doing it, or they're doing it secretly because they're scared of you. Yeah. That shouldn't be your number one parenting technique.
No. And I think that, having a child with autism, my brain goes to, God fucking forbid they have a child with any disability, or like, especially if it's one that affects behaviors. Like that is such a damaging thing to do.
And it would just make it so much harder for them, because they're already struggling to like navigate their emotions and stuff. And then suddenly they are just like scared and already dealing with everything that's overwhelming in life without being scared.
If a child's safe space is not home, where is it?
Yeah.
Literally. If they don't know that home is a place where they don't get hit, like genuinely, like you do something wrong, you get smacked in the face or on the bottom, where the fuck can they feel safe? When they get out of your house at 18.
And even then, it's like, then when they have trouble down the line, like when, even if they're adults, like your kids aren't going to want to come to you because they're going to know that you are not reacting in a way that is helpful. It's just in a way that is traumatizing.
Yeah. And to justify it all with the Bible is sick. But like, I literally asked myself, I'm like, okay, so Maddie, if you do something wrong, can he smack you?
Literally, because you're God, you're a child of God.
He's just disciplining you. He just felt called to. Yeah. So I don't know. Like, I feel like this justification can be so dangerous. And I mean, it's already dangerous if you're laughing about spanking your 4-month-old.
It's just that it can be taken and interpreted in such harmful ways that then allows people to excuse unjustifiable behavior.
It says folly is bound up in a child, but discipline drives it far away.
Well, and it also specifically talks about
he's excited
with the rod. It says it will not kill them.
Because some people could say, well, you can discipline them with timeouts. Hold on. It says with the rod.
She gonna get a little bit. It's not gonna be,
And it's not, and it's gonna be in a very loving way of saying, hi, sweetheart, do you know why you're being disciplined? Mommy does not want to discipline you. Mommy does not enjoy having to spank you, but there are consequences to disobedience.
100%.
And that's what you're saying is there are consequences to our sin. There are consequences to...
That is the epitome of like what was harmful about Ruby Frankie. And I like feel like she needs to be sat down and showed that.
Yeah.
To be like, this is what you're preaching. That is the same kind of mentality.
Yeah. And kids are not, first of all, this, oh God, it's so layered and it pisses me off so much because kids are not, first of all, put on this earth for any other reason than you literally made them be on this earth. Mm-hmm. You literally gave them no choice but to exist. And their punishment for existing in a way that isn't to your exact specifications is being fucking smacked by somebody 3 times their size. Get a fucking grip.
You're the one that's helping them learn about life and how to navigate it. And instead of actually teaching them, you're just like, sin, let me smack the shit out of you. Like, it doesn't...
It's insane.
I love that you're speaking to this idea of like even our understanding between an earthly father and child, because the Lord gives us that example. Like we're given that example in scripture. And the reality is discipline proves that we are God's children.
Right.
It's not rejection towards us.
100%.
It's actually proof that we belong to him.
Do you think, and the answer is no, do you think they ever have normal conversations that don't have anything to do with religion?
No.
Like literally, I mean, they pulled over and prayed for Drake, so literally not. But like, what the fuck?
That's when I feel just so like disconnected from it, because I'm like, I do not even understand what you're trying to say. The fact that they just like feed off each other and like, right, yeah, no, that's correct.
Obviously, this has completely gone viral. People are furious for good reason. And I don't have any faith that people like this would just be like, oh, like, all right, we'll do better. You know, we're not going to actually do this. Like, this was just a theoretical. No, they believe this. They're going to do this. They're happy about it. They're excited.
That's the thing. It's like, it wasn't even like they were just relaying that like, oh yeah, that's something in our arsenal. If the kid does something wrong, we're going to reserve the right to hit them. No, it's that he was like giddy about it.
Yeah.
Like, it's disgusting.
And it's so weird because like half the time, actually, that's being generous. Like 70 to 80% of the time, he is not looking at his wife. He's not having a conversation with his wife.
No, it's at the
He
camera.
is looking deadpan. He is in full pastor mode. Mm-hmm. He is not having a conversation. And I wonder how often, like what their dynamic is even like truly, like as husband and wife. If she didn't want to be religious tomorrow, what the fuck would that marriage be?
Well, it wouldn't.
Right. Well, that's the crazy part. How the fuck, if I'm just not a part of the same religion, I'm out?
Yeah.
Like, you don't love me.
Because
this is not a foundation of
love. Their
love.
biggest shared value is just that they love Jesus.
That's their only personality trait.
It's crazy.
Is what it is.
Based on their conversations, it doesn't even sound like they're really listening to each other, despite like validating each other and saying, yeah. It sounds like they're waiting for the other one to stop talking so then they can share their profound insight on the same topic, worded in just a slightly different way.
Yeah, my favorite part is when she's like, that's so good, but like deadpan, not
That's so
excited
good.
at all.
Yeah.
I'm like, God, I know she's sick of hearing him preach.
Yeah. No, she seems just as into it as he does, though.
I know. No, she is. She is. And it does exist. This is like a very, and it's not just in the Christian religion. In many religions, people will bond over things like this. But it is rare that both people are equally as into it. Like, it makes me think of like Girl Defined. Do you remember Girl Defined? One of the husbands was like, basically transitioning from like not like not transitioning, but like transitioning away from being so religious, and like they had to take a step back and like navigate that. And kudos to them for even doing it and not just divorcing because one person didn't want to be as religious. But like it's rare that both people are like, this cracked out on religion. You know what I mean?
Also, not to go on a tangent, but didn't one of them like, because their whole thing was like no sex before marriage and blah, blah, and then like,
then they started a sex like course.
Yeah. They're like, but it was because they had been like repressing their sexuality and not letting anything happen. And then suddenly they were like, oh shit, never mind.
I think that's the same one that has the husband that was like taking a step back. So there's been like a transition there, and it just doesn't seem plausible that for decades and your entire life you're going to keep up this energy, because it seems like exhausting. Like there's no like real, other than the Bible, other than religion, like what do you talk about? Do you go to a restaurant and say like, you know, what are your other interests? What do you care about? Who are you as a person? What do you think about when you're, you know, like laying down at night? It's just God and religion. That's it. There's no other personality trait.
I don't know.
It's like literally like sounds miserable.
I'm sure there is, but it's just like, it seems like that is 90% of their brain at all times. But then also
seems exhausting.
That's why I asked like if while she was on The Bachelor, if that was why she felt the way she did about the kissing and the sex and stuff, because I'm just like, that's an interesting show to go on.
I know.
If you're that into Jesus.
I imagine it was like a gradual thing, but something tells me both of them grew up in religion. Oh my God, why did I just have a flash of Lohanthony? God bless.
Oh my God.
Remember?
How's he doing?
He went to like conversion therapy and like is reading Bible verses.
And then like preaching about other people should do it too. And it was like really sad.
Yeah. And I have met him. That is a little gay boy.
Yeah.
He's a gay man.
Yeah.
Like I literally like was, it's just so sad. Like the things that religion can do, it's not always good. It's not always right. It's not always like morally something that I agree with. I'm sorry. Just because it's religion.
Again, it's weaponized and used in ways that aren't even aligning with the values that they're preaching. It's like they use it to benefit themselves. And I think in this situation, it makes me think of how there are like cults that like bring people in, get them to be really religious. If maybe she was kind of religious, but then she gets with him and then suddenly she's like in love with him, whatever. But then he has all of this religious stuff. And then she thinks that she has to do that to like be worthy of his love and everything. So then it just...
I don't know how long you could fake this level.
No. But then I think that it's like he basically not brainwashes, but like would be able to convince her to be on the same level as he was, because it maybe starts as like she's just playing along with it, but then like suddenly that's like all they talk about. That's all that's they're living and breathing. So
yeah, I don't know. This to me, we were also talking about that on text, 1,000 times worse than Matt and Abby. Like this is like really bad.
It makes me think Matt and Abby are great.
It really makes me worry for their daughter. And I just hope that they listen. They're not going to listen to anybody telling them otherwise, because there was countless comments like very worried and frustrated with this sentiment. But anyway, that's pretty much it for this first topic. I know it is infuriating, so we will just move on. But yeah, I couldn't not just express my absolute hatred for everything that they said in this podcast. Like it makes me so angry.
Every clip I watched made me just like fold into myself more. I was like, I hate it.
Now moving on to the second topic, we have a graphic design little scandal here. Now, the person, Claire Bailey, that we're going to be talking about, who is the graphic designer, she has privated all of this. However, we do have it. So slay internet for this one.
She does say that she didn't want anyone to talk about it.
She did say that? Well, sorry, Claire. You don't get to decide that, queen. You put it out there. And I think that is actually an interesting conversation on just like coming to TikTok. Mind you, she is coming to TikTok a year after this entire experience happened. Mm-hmm. So she made a pretty conscious decision, like knowing that this brand that she worked with, that she had an unpleasant situation with, and their name is Levetta Coffee Roasters, and it's a local coffee shop. She's going to explain the whole situation, but like knowing that they had moved on, they were never going to obviously say anything about it. Like she did make a conscious effort to post on the internet. So like people are going to cover it.
Did it happen? I mean, yes, it happened a year ago, but did I miss that? I think she said she posted it also a year ago and that it just recently blew up or something.
Okay, so she did post the first part a little while back. Like it was not a year ago, it was a few months ago. And the reason why I know that is because I sent it to our researcher and then I followed it up with, just kidding, this is old. I don't know why this is on my For You page. Like I literally told her
so
that.
It did pick up steam after the fact.
At some point, which is very TikTok. But regardless, like it was up and like on her page for a while. Now, She could have just taken it down when it was gaining steam, but she instead made a part 2. And then that also gained a lot of traction. And then Levetta had to make a statement, and it was this whole thing. Now she has taken everything down, and I guess Lily says she doesn't want anyone talking about it. But here we are.
She never names the coffee shop.
Doesn't matter.
No, so that was her thing. She's like, I never wanted this to be like people go figure it out. It didn't go viral. I kind of like want to say she thinks she like kind of forgot that she even like had talked about it, and then it started going viral, and then people started harassing the coffee shop, and she said she didn't want that.
She didn't name the coffee shop, but she did describe their logo, which helps people narrow it down. You know, place she lives, coffee shops nearby.
I mean, people can find stuff pretty easily. I'm sure I could have found it if we needed to. Yeah,
they'll find the hair on your ass, like literally.
As usual, we do not condone going and bullying and leaving fake reviews or doing anything to harass anyone. We're just here for the tea.
This is just us trying to inform you of some silly TikTok drama, and then we could just leave it here in the comments, and that's it. Nobody needs to go to Levetta's fucking TikTok.
Yes.
Before we continue, we really quickly want to thank our next sponsor, and that's Hungry Root.
Hungry Root is great because it takes the stress out of mealtime by filling your cart with personalized picks, and also helps you plan all of your meals for the week. So it's like a nutritionist and a shopper all in one.
Yeah, and they have over 15,000 recipes to choose from each week, many of which are ready in just 15 minutes or less. They even have some ready-made options and a very wide grocery selection as well. So that includes smoothies, sweets, kid snacks, salad kits, things like that. And they even have supplements. So it's a very handy way to get your food handled for the week.
And like she said, most of the meals can be made in 15 minutes, and that's because the ingredients are usually pre-portioned, and it just makes it super easy. You just mix them all together and you're good to go.
And recently I had their tomato tortellini with Italian sausage, I think it was. Delicious, super quick, and filled me right up. Didn't even have to think about it.
I know I'm boring and I always eat pasta, but I just recently had their vodka sauce rigatoni with garlicky chicken sausage. It's like all of my favorite things.
So if you guys want to try out Hungry Root for yourself, take advantage of this exclusive offer, and for a limited time, get 40% off your first box plus a free item in every box for life. All you have to do is head over to hungryroot.com/DWKT and use the code DWKT.
That's hungryroot.com/DWKT and use the code DWKT, and you get 40% off your first box and a free item in every box for the rest of your life, which is a long time.
And thank you so much to Hungry Root for being an amazing sponsor of this podcast.
Picture for you. I am college and I get the opportunity to rebrand a coffee shop in my area, which as a college student is so exciting. They offered to pay me, which was something, but it was probably like 5% of what you would pay a real graphic designer for a rebrand. But still, I was viewing it as more of like a portfolio builder piece, like, whoa, how impressive, this college student rebranded a coffee shop. So I thought. So I go in to meet her on a Friday to game plan it a little bit, and she wanted me to have a lot of creative freedom with it, but kind of right off the bat what she told me was, we don't want any imagery having to do with coffee in the logo. That's too on the nose. It's been done by every coffee shop ever, so we don't want anything that's like a coffee bean or a coffee mug. And I was like, okay, fair enough, like I can work with that, that's great. They also were rebranding, changing the name to something that has the word love in it.
So she says part of the name.
Either, yeah.
Yeah. And then the logo, it's, you know. And also, by the way, when I saw this, the first time that I had seen it and sent it to our researcher, the top comment was naming the coffee place. And she did leave that up for a while.
Okay.
It was up for a couple days. And this, at the time that it was taken down, had 170,000 likes. So millions of views.
So no hearts, Cupid, pink, none of that. Joe's like, okay, fair. Like, I'm happy to work with that. She kind of was wanting to lean into like Spanish style. They wanted to get new tile floors, blue, like the floral patterned Spanish style tiles. You know how it is. Is that kind of the exact same aesthetic as the coffee shop directly across the street from them? Yes. And I mentioned that, but she was like, oh, I've never been there. Okay. So I was like, you know what? Let's do it. Like, I'm excited. This is going to be fun. So I get home, immediately start working because, mind you, it's Friday. She wants everything done, packaged, ready by Tuesday. Again, should I have said yes to this with how much they were paying me as a full-time college student? Absolutely not. But anyway, alas, I get to work, and the first thing I do is I send her fonts. I send her probably 10 different font options, the coffee shop name just written out. I say, hey, is there anything you like about these? Are any of them kind of in the right direction? She wanted it clean, simple, modern, elegant. That was her vibe. She responds with, nope, period. That's it. I said, anything else? Like, any reason why? She's like, no, they just aren't right. So I send her probably 10 more, and she says, I love all of them. which I'm like, okay, I don't know if that's better or worse problem, but I pick one, I start working with that, and then I come up with some color palette options, send those over to her, and she says, whoa, I don't even want to think about color palettes yet. And I was like, all right, queen.
That's weird, right? Like, I feel like color palettes are one of the first things you work with. Otherwise, what am I working with black and white?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like, what shade do I do the designs in? Like, you gotta choose it.
I feel like I would usually start with black, because a lot of the times, like, you would pitch like an idea. It's like you have the like flat version, and then you would like add colors later. But also, like, a logo is not gonna have like a million different colors and stuff. So it's like it would be easy to.
Yeah, but I guess in my experience, like when I work with a designer, it's like, okay, so here's the color palette, and then depending on the color palette, like, it changes the vibe of the design. Like, I guess maybe because she said Spanish tile, that's like a very specific type of design, so maybe it wouldn't be as different. But like, if you don't have a direction or something, I feel like color gives you the vibe of like, are we doing like more like a young vibe or like a more mature, you know?
Yeah, I think since she had the Spanish tile direction, then
that might have been it.
Like, you could do like black and gray if you knew that it was going to be different colors, and then you just swap in whatever. Because also, like, when you make a logo, you have the black and the white version usually just that are plain, and then those can be used for like assets for like, even like when advertisers, like when we do our brand deals, they have like their plain one, but then they also have their color scheme that's been decided too, that they'll like give you specific colors. But usually there's always a black and a white one too.
Interesting.
Like, consider it done. We'll put that on the back burner. We'll come back to it whenever you're ready. So then I start to tackle logo. No coffee, no hearts. Got it. So I start coming up with these fun little tile designs that could be kind of repeated as a motif on like a coffee bean bag or a mug or merch or a mural on the wall. I wanted it to be very like versatile and fun with it. Sent those over to her. She didn't like them. Also, mind you, again, she was taking probably 3 to 5 hours in between each thing that I was sending her, and she wanted it in 4 days. So I was up early at the crack of dawn, making edits to what she had said. I was up late, like waiting for her to text me back about stuff so I could wrap it up for the day. It was the worst thing ever. We get to about Sunday, and she still hasn't made any like definitive decisions positively or negatively on any of the stuff I've sent her. And I get a message from her saying, hey, actually, the past couple days I've been working on some design stuff of my own that I wanted to show you. And I was like, okay. So she sends me a picture of a printed out piece of paper, and on the piece of paper there is the font that she's chosen, that she likes, script. It's like a live, laugh, love, X, like a font, like a cursive font that you would see in a coffee shop in 2012, and it had the name of the coffee shop written out. And I was like, all right, like different than what you said, but that's fine. And then she sends me a color palette also. Thought we weren't thinking about that, but again, it's fine. It is bright green, bright pink, and black.
Oh,
because nothing screams minimal Spanish style coffee shop like those 3 colors. And then to top it all off, we have a logo that she designed, and it is 2 hearts. It is just 2 hearts intertwined.
Now, looking at the Levetta's TikTok page, we can see that logo, which people have been not so kind of pointing out that it looks like a ball sack.
Oh, that, and that it's like the Airbnb logo, basically, but upside down.
Kind of. But do you see the ball sack?
Yeah. Yeah.
Very, very prominent.
Like, you could probably reverse image search that. I feel like it's probably
been done a million times.
Yeah, I was like, it's not a rarely used thing. It's not super unique.
So I took a deep breath. I was like, good Lord, please help me have patience for this woman. I was like, all right, this is simple, this is good. Like, let's pivot. So I told her, I was like, I'm happy to run with this if you want. I can try and wrap it up by Tuesday. Is this the direction you're wanting to go in from now on? No response for another 12 hours. Maybe 24 hours, because Tuesday morning, I'm freaking out at this point. I get a text, fat paragraph. What's at the top of the paragraph? Sure thing. Here's a message you can send to your graphic designer that is professional and easy to understand. Space. Yikes. And then a fat ChatGPT message firing me, telling me that our synergy isn't matching, that our goals for the brand aren't aligning, language like that. And so, was I petty? A little bit. I did hit her with the, hey, like, no worries, glad to have worked on this, where should I send my invoice for the hours I worked? I mean, I spent so long on that stuff. she did respond with, we aren't able to pay you. I'm so sorry. We are going to find someone else, but you are welcome to come in and I will give you a gift card to the coffee shop.
Why would you want a gift card to a coffee shop and like be reminded that you weren't paid every time you go in?
I think there is some things that she is skirting past though, because in what we'll read from the response from the coffee shop, she is offering her $100 period, not just to the coffee shop.
Are you sure?
Yeah, she says that you could have it direct deposit, check, or gift card. And it also says that English is not her first language, which probably explains the ChatGPT thing too, and would explain the gift card thing. And it also says that she never even followed up about the $100.
The $100 thing, is that on a text? Because I do see it in their statement. They said offered a $100 check, direct deposit, or a gift card. No, I'm looking at it now. Her text to the graphic designer says, I would still want to give you a $100 gift card for participating.
But that's what I'm saying also, maybe since English isn't her first language.
Yeah, maybe. But like, I can totally see why she interpreted it as you want to give me a gift card for like, you know.
Turned that one down, unfortunately. Could have gotten a good pastry. But drove by the coffee shop the other day, new branding, up and ready to go. Just two hearts intertwined.
June 26th is when she uploaded this. It says it on or June 25th. One of those dates. But this was not that long ago. So if she's saying that she uploaded it forever ago. Yeah, she did not.
So moral of the story is have a contract and don't get taken advantage of. Agreed. And don't say yes to something just because you think it looks cool.
And also keep in mind, so she didn't have a lot. She had like a couple thousand followers, I think. But this coffee shop has literally like 300.
Yeah, no. It's not the publicity you want to get if you're not a big... I mean, even if you're a big business, they would have gotten reamed for it. To which I say, be very careful when you hire people or like you contract people to do things. You need to be very, very clear and careful of how that interaction goes because it could be a TikTok real quick. So this is part 2. Luckily, I had the wherewithal to save this. So slay on my part. But this is the one that she uploaded literally like 2 days ago and it's already been taken down.
Hi, I'm giving you a part 2 of the coffee shop rebrand story because I posted the original video like a month ago and y'all just blew it up yesterday. And I have more details to give you. The story, the plot thickens. So one thing for clarification, I'm not going to take her to small claims court. I'm not going to hire a lawyer. She was only going to pay me like $500. I don't feel like it's worth it. Also, this situation that I talked about happened a full year ago. I have been working full-time in freelance design for months now. I have a contract. Like, I'm good, guys. Like, y'all can stop telling me to hire a lawyer. My dad's a lawyer, actually, and he helped me write my contract. So that problem is solved. However, I did decide that I want to give you guys more details into the situation so that if you are a designer, the same thing doesn't happen to you and you don't get taken advantage of. Also, I'm going to show you my sketches for the direction I was going in because you guys wanted to see it and thought it would be fun to let them see the light of day because God knows they never actually will. So first, sketches. This is the direction that I was going in. We never actually reached a point where I was working on like finalized logos in Illustrator or anything. These were all just sketches I did on my iPad to kind of like flesh out ideas, and I was sending them to her and she hated all of them. So yeah, this is the direction I was going in.
That's kind of crazy that she hated all of them because literally this is Spanish style tile. Like this is pretty much all you can hope for.
If you Google what Spanish tile is, it's pretty like there's not a whole lot crazy directions you can go with it.
Yeah. Working with the designer, the whole point of that is like you want a unique one that is your copyright and you own it and, you know, that type of thing. But it's very inspired.
I will play devil's advocate. I know people get mad at me, Lily, you're so nitpicky, blah, blah. But these are all very similar. I don't remember. Did she say that it was the owner that wanted the tile themed or did she suggest that and then the owner was like sure?
No, the owner wanted to rebrand, and if you look at their store now it has like the Spanish tile everywhere, the green
I know that
tile.
She was decorating with it, but if she wanted that like as the logo, because
that's what
the
she
only
wanted,
thing I would say is that these are all very, very similar. Like there's not a whole lot of variety.
I disagree. I think that like each tile's different. Like it's not the same tile. That type.
Well, I mean, like there's only one logo that she has actually shown with the coffee and the font and stuff.
Yeah, she did one mock-up logo, but then all of the other tiles could be like swapped out for that logo. But my biggest thing like draws to the coffee cup, which is like a completely separate, like almost like flower design that she did for the coffee cups.
But also, did they ask for that? Like that isn't like a paper cup, like that's like a coffee mug or a teacup or something. I don't know. I thought that was like before you get into like designing the cups and stuff, that it you probably should like agree on what the logo and what that direction is. She also starts referencing other ones, I guess, later in text that I'm confused because she never shows those. And it sounds like she did do a lot more than just this.
She did a lot more. She also talked about sending over the fonts and like working on stuff behind the scenes with the fonts. I don't doubt that she did days of work, you know, to get, I think she's just showing us one sketch. Well, yeah, 4 days is a lot of time for $500. Would you do full days of work for $500?
But she said she wasn't responding for like 5 hours at a time. So it's not like she was, so she was like waiting for her to respond. Like she wasn't working the whole time.
I don't know. And also this isn't like all her work. I don't know. I don't think
that's the thing is like, I think this is all she shows. So I feel like just looking at this and like, she said she did it on her iPad, but it looks like there's like pen marks. So this looked like it was just kind of like a sketch and that she hadn't even
you could do that in Procreate and on your iPad. Like Procreate is like sketching.
This is all that we actually saw to show from it. It didn't seem necessarily like she did that much. Like I could send you 20 fonts in 10 minutes. You know?
Yeah, but you can't send me 10 sketches in 20 minutes.
Yeah, but they're just not like super, super complex, you know?
I disagree. As like someone who can't draw and like, I mean, my brother's a graphic designer, so maybe I'm biased. Like the smallest design can take people a really, really long time. And it could look very simple, but for it to look effortless is actually a lot of effort. Like for it to look this clean, I think this is a super clean, like first draft of something, especially her only fucking guidance was Spanish and I don't want coffee and I don't want the hearts. Like, I feel like this is a really clean version. And a lot of times when I see people try to design shit, it looks so like almost overdone. You know what I mean? Like you're just doing too much. Like I feel like this is obvious. Like I feel like it's skillful. I don't know. I'm looking at it. I'm like, I would be happy with that.
I'm not saying they look bad or anything. I'm just saying that when you Google Spanish tile, that it's like a very similar motif. And like even like the top right one, like that's not a very complicated. It's just like a flower.
Like tile, floral, no hearts. We already went over that. Let me know what y'all think. If you're opening a Spanish style coffee shop and need a logo, I got some cooked up and ready to go just for you. Okay, more of the situation. She was offering to pay me $500. Now, early on in the process, something I didn't tell you was that I actually did ask her for more money at some point because I talked to my boss at a design agency I was working at the time and I was like, hey, I need your advice. This is the situation I'm in. I got this project. This is how much she's paying me. She wants it in like a matter of hours, days, like what should I do? Because I don't feel like she's paying me enough and the situation's already messed up. And he was like, ask her for more money. Like minimum it would be $5 to $10 grand if she was hiring a like professional designer, which is what made me think like, okay, that's why she's hiring a college student. So yeah, I texted her and I was like, hey girl, I can get these to you for $500, but I'm gonna need at least like a month to work on it. But if you want it within like the 3 days that you're giving me, I'm gonna need, I think I said 1,500. And she was like, I'm so sorry, like we can't do that. Our budget's really tight. We'll actually just find someone else who can do it for $500 if you don't want to. And then she immediately started kind of like ushering me out. She was like, but thank you so much for your work. And it was great working with you. And if you'd like to come by, I'll still give you a gift card. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm getting fired already. Like what? I just asked for more money. And so I was like, no, you know what? It's fine. I'll do it for $500. I was desperate, you guys. You have to understand that I was in college. This was my first paid design gig like ever of something of this scale. And I needed the money and it was fine. I was like, you know what? Again, it's a portfolio builder, whatever. So at the end, so many of you are asking, why did I not just send her my invoice? Why did I not bring in legal action? I didn't feel like it was worth it. I didn't feel like it was worth my time. I didn't feel like it would lead to anything fruitful except for a huge headache. And I knew other projects would come eventually, but I do want to read you the text that the last thing she sent me. I just never responded, about why they weren't paying me anything and why they were just offering me a gift card. Because she sent the big ChatGPT message firing me. I responded with like, where should I send my invoice? She said, we can't pay you. Let me tell you exactly what she said. It is also very evidently written with AI. So blah, blah, blah. She said, from the outset, this project was structured with a flat prize of $500. Not compensation for my work, a prize, a reward. Like I had to fight for it or something. Blah, 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 which includes comprehensive branding package, which was to include finalized logos, patterns. Oh, I forgot to tell you, she also wanted a full line of like illustrations, custom illustrations also by Tuesday.
See, that's what I feel like I'm missing, is that there's like a lot of the conversation that was left out. It's not super clear what all of the expectations were and what everything she delivered was.
Well, I think in general, the expectation, I mean, what we know is a rebrand. And when you think rebrand, you think literally any asset you could ever need, up until like she was focused on the cups and the what the bags are going to look like. Like, that is a very big undertaking. It's not just like, we need a new logo, queen, you know.
But then also it's like, how much of that though was like deliberately like, hey, this is what we need. We need new cups. We need this. Or if it was like, we're looking for a logo, we're doing a rebrand, and like it's a smaller coffee shop and they're only, if they can only afford $500 to pay a graphic designer anyway, I doubt they're doing like an overhaul on like everything, you know? I wish there was a little more clarity.
Well, she says right now that she expected full illustrations. I don't know exactly what that means, but I guess like a polished version.
No, because I assume it's referring to like in the text, there's something about like a woman drinking coffee. So I don't know if maybe it was like they wanted art that they were going to hang up, but like there's just not a whole lot of clarity on what the exact
I think on both sides, even looking at texts, it's pretty obvious that like a lot was wanted. Like they wanted a lot of different things. They wanted more things than could be delivered in 4 days. I feel in general, like regardless of if you're paying someone $500 or $5,000, I think that like a rebrand in 4 days is kind of crazy in general. But I think on both sides, like the rebrand is agreed, like they both wanted that, or that was the understanding.
Yeah, I think that just like the extent of what a rebrand is could be misinterpreted by like someone that's a graphic designer thinks of a rebrand and they're like thinking every possibility, but someone that's kind of like a coffee shop owner that doesn't really know anything about graphics, that isn't really like, they don't really know completely what they're asking for, you know, maybe they were just going to put like a new sign out front and print some napkins, you know, instead of...
Well, she did have a meeting with her and is saying the illustrations thing. So I don't think it could be just the logo. I don't
either, but that's what I'm just saying. We don't ever get clarity on exactly what
list,
anyone asked and what was agreed upon. Obviously, she's making it from her perspective that she was asked to do things that she was trying to deliver on and then didn't get paid for. But then we don't know what the conversations were.
All participants understood and agreed to these terms upon entering. I clearly did not understand and agree. So I guess I was not a participant. I don't know. Following your selection, we discussed our vision, mission, and style preferences. She just like recapped the week, like day in my life. She was like, we collaborated back and forth. Like, I think she had AI read our text conversations and like summarize what happened. And she said the contest prize, although modest, was intended to cover the entire project scope, and we did not agree to any additional hourly billing beyond the flat rate for the full deliverables. I didn't know it was a contest. I did not know I was competing against anybody else. I was competing against her, I guess, because she designed the logo in the end. So, yeah, did not know it was a contest. Thought I just got hired to be their graphic designer. Guess they had other chicks on the side also fighting for this prize, Hunger Games style. And one of the last sentences was, given that we didn't reach any finalized deliverables as discussed, further payment beyond the participation gift card would not be appropriate. All right. Yeah, no, it's very inappropriate to pay people for their work. Wildly inappropriate. So yeah, that's the update for you guys.
I totally understand, although maybe that's not what I would do. Like, I do understand why the coffee shop owner was like, well, I didn't get a final deliverable. That was never like beyond sketches. We didn't get there. So here's what we can compromise on. I don't get how that compromises a $100 gift card. I do think that that's a bit dismissive of someone's literal human time. Like, she is a full-time college student. She worked on it. She has evidence that she worked on it. Don't disrespect people's time. I don't like that.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem like it was clear, like based on what they said later, that it was like $100, not just a gift card.
It doesn't seem like that's anywhere
definitely
else.
Communicating a gift card, which it's like, no, I don't want fucking coffee for...
I don't want to go back there, actually. Thank you. So we do have Levetta's response. There's a few here. So the first page says, hello, this is Levetta Coffee Roasters management team. We are aware of the discourse surrounding our business, and we are working to piece together a response. We thank you for your patience at this time. It says, hello, we are the owners of Levetta Coffee. First, we sincerely apologize to our patrons who have supported us in our growth as a company. We are trying to be as transparent as possible in this process of understanding. We also mean no ill intent towards anybody we have worked with. We are trying to share our side of the story to recover the reputations of not only our brand, but our staff. We hope you understand. In October of 2024, we began our rebrand to Levetta and initiated our contest. So it was a contest. I don't think that was a language thing.
Yeah, no, that they like got a group of people, like more than one designer was working on this, and it was like, we're going to pick the best one. But it's
that actually
just
makes
very confusing.
So much sense with the way that they just said, okay, forget it, like so quickly, because they had to have something else lined up. I thought it was because she had designed the love, the heart intertwining thing, but I guess it's because they had multiple people fighting for it. That actually makes it so much worse.
But I think she still did design the heart, so I think they ended up going with no one. But
so you're wasting people's fucking time in the pursuit of $500. Like, it's fucked. They said, and initiated our contest in search of a graphic designer to design our logo. As a small local business with a short budget, we felt that recruiting a few local graphic design students could mutually benefit both of us. How does it benefit the people who waste their time and don't have anything to show for it? How does that benefit them?
I think they're thinking the person whose like logo they did use, it would benefit, but I don't think they're taking into account the people that weren't going to be chosen.
Applicants were sent a basic guide for our vision and a cash quote-unquote prize or payout of $500 for completing the project. We selected a specific designer in early November who, after 2 days of starting, asked us to increase the payment from $500 to $2,000. So what do you mean? You selected a specific designer. Does that mean that she won the like contest to be your graphic designer?
I guess, because then the cash prize, it says, is the payout of $500 for completing the project. But then I'm confused how the application process was.
That is weird. Like, she didn't even know she was part of a fucking application process to begin with.
Well, but then I guess it was kind of irrelevant because they didn't, like, she was the one they chose.
Yeah, that's weird. It goes on to say, we selected a specific designer in early November who, after 2 days of starting, asked us to increase the payment from $500 to $2,000. We believe the time and effort an artist invests in their work is priceless. Do you? And we would love to honor the work they have done with a larger payment. However, since we did not have that type of budget, we told the designer we couldn't continue, and we offered them a $100 gift card for their dedication.
Which, that, I feel like, sure. Because if it's before she's put in work and she had upfront said, hey, actually, I'm going to want $2,000 for this. And they were like, we can't afford that. Thank you anyway.
Right.
Like,
if it was before any work, sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they show a text message where they are responding to her request for more money. And it says, hello, blank. Thank you so much for participating and wanting to work with us. We totally understand, and we definitely know it's a very, very small amount as a compensation. That's why we were trying to work with some students to kind of help each other, because we are on a tight budget as a small business. So what? The students are now helping each other with the design?
It's not a group project. I'm confused.
So I don't think it will work for us as of now, but probably another time with other projects. I would still want to give you a $100 gift card for participating and having passed the first pitch. I will give this to blank and he will handle from there. Thank you again. So they were quick to drop her. The next slide says, when the designer agreed to still continue with the original plan, staying at $500, we double checked to make sure they were okay with the deal, and they agreed to stay on board. For the next 2 days, the designer sent us 2 sketches and a color palette. So they're saying no font, nothing else was given. It was just a sketch. Oh wait, no, 2 sketches. So
it was the sketch we saw, and then I'm curious what the sketch we didn't see was.
Regardless, I'm like, damn, okay, so in 2 days, you're getting 2 pages of sketches. They're like kind of saying it as if it's nothing, like who cares? I don't know.
Then it's the text combo that they're having with her, and they said, are you sure? I don't want you to think we don't value it. It's just not possible for us. Also, these are all good except the mom illustration and the table. So that's what I was like, what is the mom illustration? I want to see that. The girl says, I'm sure, thank you. Which one is the mom illustration? The one of the girl with the coffee? And they said, yes, LOL. And she said, okay, perfect. I'll send you some more stuff throughout the afternoon. No rush on answering. I know you're busy.
Well, that's another aspect of it. She's talking about how long they took to answer. Apparently she's saying no rush. Yeah, that's not great communication.
Like, I'm not doubting at all that the coffee shop seemed to drop the ball on a lot of this, but it seems like there was some maybe misunderstandings on both parts.
The coffee shop answered and said, yes, I understand. On the weekends, it's really busy and I didn't have a chance to think about it. Do you have any concept behind it, or it's a tile design? So I guess this is their initial response to her sketch. And she says, as of right now, they're just Spanish-inspired tile designs. Was there anything in particular you wanted to convey about Levetta through the tile? Do you want it to incorporate some imagery related to coffee or love? Which, again, they told her no hearts, so it's not like she can make custom, like the design she did kind of look like hearts, but also like flowers. Like, I think she was trying to stay away from that because that's what they told her. They didn't give her much to work with.
Standard Spanish tile designs.
Yeah. They responded, yeah, something like that would be nice. I have made one design that we like a lot, was waiting to see if you come up with something. The fuck? So now you're coming up with the designs? I would be annoyed too. The coffee shop says, please reach out to blank if you'd prefer to receive the gift card as a check or direct deposit. So I guess it is on text that it could be a direct deposit.
And I think maybe they meant like gift card. Maybe it was like a Visa gift card or something they were thinking of. And they just like were communicating it really badly.
Maybe. Thank you again for participating, and I'm sorry we couldn't see this through to completion due to time constraints. Wishing you all the best. So I genuinely wonder if she got so thrown off by the gift card, because that's happened to me before. Like, I'll get thrown off by something somebody says in text and then I don't read the rest, you know, because I'm so thrown off by that thing. So maybe she just missed that part. I don't know if she was maliciously withholding the fact that it could have been a gift card. It was only $100 still, which I think if somebody's doing the work, like even starting work, like I would have at least given, I don't know, like at least half, I don't know, not the whole thing, it wasn't complete, but like if you gave me a somewhat of a direction or like you put in some work, me personally, the way I function, even if I'm not using it, I'm like, okay, well, I gotta give you something, girl, like I can't, you know what I mean? But I guess this was them doing that. It just, to me, I would kind of feel like, okay, $100, I just spent 4 days.
It would
like,
suck.
I don't know. Yeah,
absolutely.
for sure.
If it happened to me when I was in college, I would be disappointed for sure.
Exactly. She's in college as well.
Yeah, but they did offer, and also she never even responded or took them up on it.
Yeah, again, I wonder if she was just like, fuck you guys are like blowing me off type of thing. But they continued it on by saying, we value the time and effort put into these designs, but as a new business working on monetary and time constraints, it was difficult to foresee these creative misalignments. English isn't our first language, and we didn't want our message to be misconstrued, as we truly valued their contribution to this project. We didn't foresee the environmental impact of AI and how its use could be misinterpreted as inauthentic. That's interesting.
Well, it's because I'm sure they were getting like absolutely bombarded with comments about it, because it was obvious because they forgot to delete the first part of the
that's just careless. Yeah. It was disheartening to hear our brand identity watered down into someone else's vision. We wanted a Spanish inspired design because we were raised there and spent most of our lives in South America. We have taken inspiration not only in interior but in the drinks themselves by incorporating South American flavors that represent who we are. We can understand that our aesthetic may be similar to a neighboring coffee shop, but our reasons stem from different experiences, which sure, that's fine. We started this coffee shop from a place of love, hence the name Levetta, and it is crushing to be perceived as anything else. We hope our story is taken into consideration, and we are deeply sorry for any inconvenience this has caused. And then it's signed the owners. So all in all, I think that the miscommunication in my eyes came from a brand that did not have the budget to do what they wanted. And they decided to try, and maybe that was not their intention, but they decided to try to and exploit students to do it. They decided to try and get students to do it because students are cheaper, because they're desperate, because they're broke. Usually, obviously not everybody.
Or they're willing to do it for a portfolio because they don't have the experience yet in the workforce. It's bullshit. I think we've talked about before, don't work for free. Like, I know you have to do it occasionally to like start out just to get a few like examples on your plate, but like it is exploiting people.
Yeah, I think also they didn't give her a fair shot with clear direction to let her even make good on what they had agreed to, and the fact that she was willing and like decided to be available to them in the short time span that they wanted. I think that that is something that she should have been compensated for. Again, they offered some compensation, she didn't take it, so people can perceive that however they want. Maybe again, she thought it was just a gift card that was an option. Maybe she didn't read further. I don't know. I just think in general they didn't even give her a fair shot. I think that's my biggest annoyance, where I'm just like, she could have probably slayed it. Like, you just didn't let her slay. Like, you didn't let her even try.
I do feel like there's some definite pieces missing that we don't know exactly what the conversation was, what they were agreeing upon, what she was giving them, if that was what they did ask for. Like, we don't know what all of the communication was between them. So I think there very easily could be just miscommunications on both ends. But I do think that you should absolutely pay her something, because clearly you were in contact with her and she was doing some work. But then I also think that maybe to go on and complain about a coffee shop that has 300 followers that people would be able to find, and then also over like when they did try and give you money and you didn't even take it.
I don't know. I don't get like super Cloud Goblin vibes, especially because she deleted everything and like basically panicked. Like, I don't think she wanted people to do it. I think it came out of frustration.
No, for sure. But I think that we've seen that time and time again, that brands and and businesses do get totally ruined by someone coming on and complaining whether it was deserved or not.
That being said, they're getting ruined on TikTok. Do I think that's going to actually like affect their local business? I think that would be crazy.
Hopefully not. Yeah. Well, honestly, it probably benefits them more that they only have 300 followers, because then it isn't going to be as widespread to people that might actually be going.
Right. But to Claire, for like her, because then she put up a video, like we said, we've kind of gone on long enough on this topic, but she essentially was like, I didn't want anyone to harass. I didn't want anyone to, go on my behalf and like basically, which is a lot of the, like, it's a big sentiment of people we cover where they like,
it's always, I didn't think I would go viral. I didn't think this would happen.
Or they didn't realize what it could be. And
and my point is, I think is exactly that you like do have to think of that, especially now especially in a business versus client scenario. Yeah. I feel like those are ones that do, I mean, we cover them all the time. Those are what do blow up really easily. And I think that even if you're frustrated, you maybe weigh the pros and cons of like, what is this going to accomplish? Why am I taking this to social media? Is it just to vent, or is it to actually get them to do something?
Not only that, she's literally started gaining traction and then did her part 2. So like she showed the sketches in part 2 after it had already started getting bigger. So I think she just like, it just all became a lot too quickly, probably, if I had to guess. I think that more than likely this was a miscommunication. I think that the brand maybe don't try recruiting a bunch of students to like fight for the death to do your logo and then not use any of them and go with the sack. Like, I think that there's things to be learned here for sure.
I think also it comes back to a lot of businesses I think are not very well educated in like the ins and outs of like graphics and like how much stuff like that costs, and like they don't really understand the full scope of it. Yeah. So it's like they kind of get into something and get in over their heads when they didn't realize that like you pay people like a lot of money to do that, and they were getting a really good deal, and they could have probably facilitated it so they actually got something they were happy with.
Well, anyway, we love the internet.
Yes. I have one that's super random, but it was making me laugh. It's not a dog for once.
To keep in mind when planning my funeral. Number 1, similar to like a gender reveal party, I want my guests to dress in white if you think I'm going to heaven and red if you think I'm going to hell. Number 2, there will be a VIP list because, for me it's a big special day and I really just don't want to have any cloud chasers there who are going to be trying to steal my moment. Number 3, all guests will be receiving a little mini Ouija board as a party favor with a note to keep in touch and instructions on how to summon me. Number 4, if cremated, I want to have a sand art station where guests can mix my ashes with colored sand and put it in a little tiny bottle that they can take home and put on display as if they got it on a tropical vacation. Number 5, I want to have fan edits made of me that play on big jumbo screens the entire time that just make me look like super hot and funny and like sexy and cute. Number 6, I want to have a merch stand selling like t-shirts and keychains of me that say something like, only the good die young, or Till Death Do Us Part tour, and then has like the year that I died. Number 7, I want a cake that says Happy Death Day. That's like a burn away cake, and when you burn away the top layer, it has a picture of me just like this. Number 8, I want to elect a court of friends and family that have to choreograph and perform a group dance in my honor. Number 9, I obviously want to have a photo booth, and on all the little photo strips, I want it to have my birthday and my death day printed at the bottom. Number 10, I want to have a claw machine where people can try to win my most prized possessions, like my Sunny Angels or my Apple Watch. And lastly, as a bonus, I want to have sunglasses be required for everybody, including myself, just to make sure that it has a Pretty Little Liars vibe.
Oh my God. I think she's a Leo, maybe.
It was great because I'm just like, has anyone ever done like a funeral to that extent that's like kind of just like a joke?
Maybe. Well, I've seen
like,
people
joke about it, but I've never seen, like, I wonder if anyone's actually ever done something to that level.
I know people do like recordings and stuff to be played at their funeral and they're like being funny.
Yeah.
That's funny. Mine is a little bit random because I feel like we talk a lot about like playing into the meme and like sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But Demi Lovato kind of slayed with this. Do you remember her froyo incident?
I do very well. But also, in general, she's really, like, I would say probably the last 6 months, maybe even a year, really turned around her social media presence. I'm very impressed.
Yeah, she's doing good. If you don't remember her froyo incident when she went to a froyo place and then, what was it, like she like saw something that was like a sugar-free option and then she was like offended because it like triggered her because she has an ED and it's like this whole thing. Yeah. And it was just like, she literally says like, I couldn't get my yogurt that weekend. And like, people basically memed the fuck out of it. Like, girl, there's people dying. Like, what do you mean? But that place was called the Big Chill. So she went back for a little reunion.
I left that yogurt store and didn't get the yogurt that I wanted.
And then she's eating the yogurt. People
she's in her healing era.
Yeah, no, she definitely is. But this was so slay. And then the caption says, "Love you, Big Chill." And then she tagged them.
See, I'm telling you, this is the good PR I was talking about for the restaurant situation. They need to have her back once they reopen.
Yeah, no, for sure. But anyway, guys, that's it. We made it to the end. So if you've made it to the end as well, we appreciate you very much. But that is all we have for you. And as always, we hope you have a wonderful week and we will see you on Friday. Bye.
Cheers.